In this video, I want to discuss the current metagame of the PvP sandbox we find ourselves in as of now, and my suggestions on what counter picks and tactics you guys should consider utilizing. Needless to say, Void 3.0 is pretty hot right now. I'm not going to really rant on it since I did that in my last video, if you're interested in that. But I will discuss the common tactics in regards to gameplay surrounding your typical average player. I'm going to start with hunters and their ability to loop camo or invis consistently, and the common tactics I see from experience and how I deal with it. When a player is invisible, they are off the radar unless they sprint or jump. Their movement audio is also muffled if they are not jumping, so don't feel too bad if you get caught off guard because you can easily get creeped on for the reasons I mentioned a moment ago. The one thing I often see players struggle with is patience. Especially in an environment like trials or survival, patience matters a lot more in those modes where your life is highly valuable. For people who didn't know, there's a distinct audio cue when a hunter activates camo. It sounds like this. At the surface level, it may not seem like a lot to go off of in terms of info on where they are at the time, but it will give you an idea as to where they could be going or flanking from to grab an angle to put pressure on you or your teammates. I hope this clip provides a solid example of this.
16. Just hold this, hold this. I got a rift here, Lunars. I'm out of snipes. Yo, they're peeking, they're peeking.
Got one really weak. Notice how I heard a hunter use their jump ability and then activate Trapper's ambush to go invisible, so it was reasonable to assume that the player is going for some kind of flank to get an angle on us, so I conveniently checked and there he was trying to cut off our escape. Playing patiently for info is your best counter to hunter camo, and make sure your audio is up just enough so you can actually hear what's going on. Another tool at a Nightstalker's disposal are smoke bombs that weaken a target, as well as ping radar. This alone already makes Nightstalkers a nuisance to fight on top of everything else they have in their kit, because it makes you, how do I put this? It makes you question the information that's known to you. Again, patience along with visual and audio proficiency is encouraged because smoke bombs emit a purplish hue and have a distinct audio cue like this. All in all, it's boring to play this way if you are in 3v3 like Trials or Survival, but you have to play with patience and communicate everything. It becomes quite easy to fight camo when you have a lot of information to work with from communication, when it becomes second nature. If you have enough playtime and game knowledge, invisible players become relatively easy to play against, assuming an average player is just using it. One highly valuable skill worth developing is understanding a player's style and their tendencies. You see this a lot in fighting game genres, and I'll reference that time and time again on this channel. But since fusion rifles are the hot topic, I will use that as an example. I personally do not see it that much on the PC side of things, but I hear it's a plague on the console side. Thoughts aside, one common thing I notice when I fight invisible players is that they will activate camo and then immediately look for a special weapon cleanup. And there are no better weapon types for catching someone with their pants down than with the fusion rifle. This is why CQC special weapons and camo are such a strong, honestly oppressive pairing. You have no exact location on where you could be getting pushed from, and by the time you do, you are already evaporated by a VOOP. The moment you die from that tactic, you have to keep it in the back of your mind that you need to play hard cover and give them a false sense of confidence that they can kill you easily again. So you either bait out their fusion shots, or you simply don't play into their game and force them to duel you with the primary. In 6v6 you don't really have that luxury, but in 3v3 it's kind of the go-to for me as far as strats go to fight fusion players. In short, you need to complexify the engagement to a point where you are forcing them to think outside the box of let me straight line with the fusion and make them uncomfortable. Another tip is that the majority of the Destiny 2 player base in PvP have a linear, predictable playstyle that can be exploited if you don't play into their style. complexify your approach to engagements, and most players will easily get overwhelmed and flabbergasted. I could have just clickbaited this video and showcased some exotic options or builds that can act as a counter to invis like a lot of content creators would do, but what most content creators won't do is get into the psychological aspect of how the player base utilizing the metagame at large plays the game and the sort of chess mind games at play on how to counter something. Do let me know what you think of this. The next video I plan on doing is a discussion piece on why I personally believe player improvement across the board is easily held back in the D2 community. In the meantime, enjoy the rest of the gameplay. Peace.
I think what worked is you slowed them off the rest so they couldn't push so fast. I hate this game, dude. That one's weak.
Over.